Hello, my name is Rich, and welcome to my world and garden. Today we're going to talk about hydrangeas. There's 4 different varieties of hydrangeas and more coming out all the time. So we're going to start with Oakleaf Hydrangea, which I have a couple of bushes over here. This is one of my favorite hydrangeas. It's a Oakleaf Hydrangea. And the reason they say that is because it has a big leaf that looks like an oak leaf. These are beautiful. They have a really heady smell the first week they bloom to the second week. We're kind of getting to the end of that. They're beautiful on the bush. They're not the type you would dry and bring in, although you can dry them. You can cut them and put them in water, and as the water drains out, they dry standing up. You can use them in flower arrangements. You can also cut them and hang them upside down. And a lot of people do that. It's in the new country or Cape Cod look. You see a lot of dried hydrangeas. It's a very hardy plant. I started here with one. The limbs will fall down. Mulch will get over them, they'll root themselves. So you'll end up with more than one bush, which is nice. You can dig them up, move them around your garden, give them to someone else. So it's not a finicky bush. Hydrangeas tend to do better in cooler weather. That's why you see them all over Cape Cod and New England, Massachusetts, Michigan. They like cooler evenings. Now the old-fashioned variety, which we're going to talk about next, do not do as well in the mid-Atlantic states as they do in the next zone up in New York State. This is an old-fashioned variety. This is pretty much what you probably remember from your childhood. Your grandmother had it, your great-grandmother had it. These heads should be larger right now, but they're not because we've been in a drought for weeks and they're not getting enough water, and my garden is way too big to go around water every single thing. So, and they don't bloom every year for some reason. This is a good year for them because everyone's are blooming. If you can see, the leaves look a little wilted right now. That's because they need water. This variety is really probably the hardest to grow. Now, if you're up in New York State, New England, this is going to be easy to grow. But here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, they need more shade. This one looks fairly decent because it's under a cherry tree. It's getting some shade. It probably needs to be watered every day. I just can't do that at this time of the year. I don't have enough hours in the day. I am setting up a drip system bed by bed, but it's going to take a couple years to get it all done. The old hydrangeas bloom on old wood, so you want to make sure you don't cut that down in the spring. But they have new varieties out that look like the old varieties, and they bloom on new and old wood. This is a big deal. So my suggestion to you is ditch the one you have and get a new one. And excuse me, I can't remember the name, but it's this beautiful, and it's happy here. It has shade from the tree in the afternoon, that's important, and it's close enough to all the pots I'm watering that I can water it. And that's what it needs this time of the year. This is another contemporary hydrangea that blooms on new and old wood. It's very pretty. My wife liked it, so we bought 3 bushes. This is 4 years, and it is taking its time. Like I said, it needs a lot of water. I'm watering it every day. And I think the heat from the driveway and the full sun hits it. And it's been a really hot month, couple of weeks, and there's no end in sight. So I don't know, you might want to think this through. If you're not in one of the northern climates, you might want to stay away from this variety, their work. I'd like to take you back to another section of the garden where I have a variety called Pinky Winky. They're all different names for these. They have every year they have a new cultivar coming out. And these new hydrangeas that have the woody bases are so easy to grow, and they can get huge, or you can keep them maintained if you'd like. And they have beautiful mop heads, and some of them have strawberry colors. You need to pull them up on Amazon or Google them. Go to your local nursery and talk to people about them. They are the easiest. And if I had my way, that's all I would put in my gardens are these new varieties, the lamb's head and the mop heads, the Pinky Winkies, limelight, hardier than heck, bloom every year, and they're really nice for the back of your borders. You can do hedges in them. They're really nice. So let me go take you and show you the next variety. This is a Pinky Winky. Although at the moment it doesn't look Pinky Winky, but they kind of get pink. And it's that woody variety that I'm talking about. And you can just do a wave of them in the back of your borders. I have another wave behind me in another bed. I have some over here. So I just place them in with shrubs. They brighten up your garden because, you know, we're getting to the time of the year when you get near the 4th of July, a lot of things stop blooming for you. And it's nice to have shrubs and flowers. Now you can let them dry and just stay, or you can clip them. And like I said, these I'll just take, when they look spent, I'll just take hedge clippers over them. And then in the spring, I'll cut them back. Now, sometimes you just need to cut them back every other or third year. They don't need to be done every year. This is not a hydrangea, but I thought I'd add it to the filming. It's one of my favorite shrubs. My mother had it when I was a child, so I've had it in my life every summer. It is pronounced C-H-A-T-E. I don't know how you would say Chade or Chad or whatever. It's the last thing to leaf out, so it looks dead in early spring and mid-spring. And they get large. This is 2 bushes. So you put them somewhere where you want to hide something or you want a specimen. You can prune them down. They don't have to be this big. Now down south, they pollard them, which is a nice way of saying they cut them off, take all the leaves, and they keep all the blooming and leaves at the top. And it looks really nice. And you see that. It's for someone who has a little bit more time. Pennsylvania is not a place to pollard these. If we get a really bad winter, every decade or decade and a half, I have to saw them to the ground because it killed all the wood. But they come back year after year. So for the last couple of years, they haven't died out on me, and that's why they're this large. It's just something I always want around me. I love this. You either love it or you don't, but you need space for it. And there are 2 varieties. There's a smaller variety, and then there's the large variety. And this is not the large variety. So you can get them bigger. And if you're down south, if you're in Mississippi or North Carolina, they can get huge. And so this is about as far north as you can go with them. You might be able to go into New York State. I'm not sure. I'd have to read up on that. So there you go with the Chade shrub. Thank you for joining me this week. It was a pleasure. I hope to see you again next week. Remember to tell your friends and subscribe. Have a blessed week.